And we're back with all of our boating friends from the Florida Powerboat Club. Stu Jones along with producer Ryan McCoy here in the Pompano Beach studio, and we are just rolling right through this Key West 2023 video footage, and we have hours and hours of amazing videos of all of these cool boats that were registered. 275 teams in all, guys. It's going to stretch it out to about an 8 or 9 episode series. Rolling right on into episode number 3 with feature coverage of this epic event celebrating now 31 years with Florida Powerboat Club. So before we get started, let's thank our sponsors. Our presenting sponsor for the FPC 2023 series of events is Mercury Racing, celebrating 50 years of Wide Open. And by these sponsors in alphabetical order: Big Thunder Marine, Blackwater Boats, Cigarette Racing Team, Concept Boats, Deep Impact Custom Boats, WRIGHT Power Boats, Fountain Power Boats, Midnight Express Boats, Nortec High Performance Boats, Performance Boat Center, Plantation Boat Mart, SD Marine Group Isla Morada, along with Statement Marine, our local performance boat builder from right here in the Tampa Bay area. And I know you guys are keeping track of where we are and what we're doing, so let's test you now. So we're on day number 2, which is what? Come on, what day is that? It's Wednesday, of course it is. All right, so just checking, guys. We've already had the Tuesday group depart out. We joined the Wednesday group and headed down. Started some of the aerials in our last episode, but we're going to just kind of recap here back at Grove Harbor because we had so many boats on this event, and Wednesday was a big departure. I think 75 or more boats. So back on the dock here as the lovely Melissa with her card pull ready, as well as our Grove Harbor team with those long PVC poles with the little boxing gloves on the end, and they use those to keep the boats from banging into the dock. I know you guys love that with your fancy paint jobs. And Kyle Fowler now pulling up to the dock with his dad Mike on board, and having some fun with this Wright Performance Cats. It's a 42 model Twin Mercury Racing 450Rs, and you know, there's a family that spent a lot of time running around in fountains. First it was a Performance V-bottom, then it went to a 38 center console, and now they're moved over to the cat world, and they seem to be loving it. So nice to see the Fowlers here again, enjoying a family day heading to Key West. And nice to welcome Kurt Binkley and his crew on Team Fun Smuggler. This is a DONZI 35, and they're all the way from North Carolina. Riding on board today, he's got Misty and Jason, Chad, and Megan getting ready for a fun day on the water. Interesting fact about Kurt, well, he runs a poker run up in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's on Lake Norman, and he wanted me to remind everybody he's hosting the Binks Addiction Awareness Fun Run on Lake Norman, June 14th and 15th. It's all online at binksfunrun.com. And I do believe it is a very special welcome for Teddy Stigler because I think it's his first time on the Key West Poker Run. Got himself a great-looking crew today as they pull up to the dock. I think he's got a brand new statement on order, and Nick loaned him this 360 Cat as a demo. It's got Mercury Racing 450Rs, team not yours, but Teddy and his crew are from Ohio, a long ways from home to be joining us, and thumbs up on that crew, Teddy. Good job, bro. And no surprise that it's another team from Ohio. Obviously, these guys are running together. This is Nick Hogan and his Outer Limits 44 GTX powered by Mercury Racing 1075. Let's listen in. And now let's welcome this couple from Punta Gorda, Florida, in their first Key West Poker Run in a 87 Sonic. Joseph and Jennifer DeFusco. And I was just amazed to see this boat because I'm pretty sure it was one of the original Sonics that joined us way back in the early 90s when we started this event. In fact, a lot of you guys don't realize that the Sonic Owners Rally to Key West back in 1993 was actually the first event which became the framework and the start of what now is the Key West Poker Run. So a lot of history there. And with this boat being 37 years old, definitely a contender for the Classic Boat Award. And let's now welcome the Tom and Jennifer show in this Statement 360 Cat. Who'd have thought this couple would be in a cat with a pair of Mercury Racing 450s? So, you know, after seeing them all these years with big 42-foot cigarette center consoles, been a while both since they've been in the cat world. They did have a 43 Nortec. I think they might still own that cat. but clearly this Statement 360 with a pair of 450 Mercs, man, the way to go. And their first time now running on this Key West poker run in a cat. And a very special welcome to this couple, Jeff and Stephanie Angst, who came all the way from Wisconsin. First-timers for the run. Jeff says it was on his bucket list to do this event. It's a 39 Outer Limits Quattro with big 700s, and the first time this boat has seen salt water. And we saw some of this boat in our last show. It's Michael Alexander from Long Island, New York, with his 32-foot skater, Team TJA Motorsports. Got the team on board, guys. These are regulars here every year, and I'm guessing they've done this event more than 15 times. And let's welcome back Fred and Judy Revis, who have a beautiful home in Boca Raton, Florida, but they're originally from South Carolina. This is an MTI SV42. It's got Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs, which are new to this boat. He previously had 400Rs. His other boat, well, it's a 48 MTI. And another team that has made this event at least 2 or 3 years in a row, Michael Lawrence and this big Outer Limits. They're all the way from Connecticut, joining us now here in Team FUBAR. If this boat looks familiar, well, it was in the club for a number of years prior with the previous owner. Let's crank up that stern drive power.
Push up, yeah.
Now time for a little more center console love with this big Midnight Express 43. Chris and Shelby Mattingly, and of course Shelby done a great job with all of her gal pals on the boat with the matching red bikinis, and always looking fantastic. I should really say these ladies are contenders for the Sexiest Crew Award, and nice to see this couple joining us all the way from Kentucky. And we all remember the bright green and blue Midnight Express. They sold that boat. They got another one ordered, but in the meantime, I think Eric at Midnight loaned them this boat. Well, I'm glad you loaned it to them because look, they got a full crew here heading for Key West. So nice to see this couple back with us on the Key West Poker Run. And nice to see Jeff and Lisa Trimble joining us again all the way from Texas. But they're on a new ride now. We've seen them on a number of events in their red 32 skater, but now they got this 40 skater, which is called Team Widowmaker, with a pair of custom-built 1100s. And another team from Georgia. Once again, it's Daniel Cates, Team NAUTI. This time, it's actually his third time on the Key West run, but first time for this brand new 2024 Renegade 38 center console with triple Mercury Racing 500Rs. I love the look of the boat. It's with all black graphics and the tan interior. A complete change in the design and the graphics that we've seen on so many of these Renegades, where you see a lot of flashy paint, a lot of bright colors, but I've got to say I love the black and tan. It's a great look for this 38 Renegade. And going to change it up now a little bit, guys. Riding on board now on my Cigarette 38 Top Gun, Flight 1130. We're going to be heading down today for the run all the way to Marathon, but not continuing to Key West because we've got some aviation executives on board today who did a charity thing with one of the recent exotic car toy runs. So they're going to ride along for the run today, and it's something that I'm doing a lot more of, donating rides on my Cigarette Top Gun so that people can join us and have that poker run experience, and maybe not go for the whole weekend, but just for a day. And of course, we've seen this boat a lot. This is the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Safe Boat that we hire as part of our safety management program on these runs. They're going to ride with us all the way to Key Largo and beyond before turning around and heading back to Miami. Great shot here as we now head through the Card Sound Bridge. Our producer Ryan McCoy riding along with a nice GoPro, getting this super cool shot as we pass through Card Sound. I know we didn't go through the middle, guys, but it's allowed, not on the poker run with the whole group, but by myself. Yeah, remember, I'm just playing catch up. And now we're going to get back up in the air with the helicopter and start picking up some of our teams as we continue on Biscayne Bay heading towards Key Largo. This is Joseph and Jennifer DeFusco. We saw them earlier in this classic 1987 Sonic, and I think Joseph got a kick out of the story when I saw that it was a signature edition for at the time, the owner of the factory was Jay Ross. I said, well, would you happen to know that he's my next door neighbor in Pompano Beach? Joe and Jennifer came from Punta Gorda to join us for their very first time on the Key West Poker Run. And now for a team that is definitely not their first time on the Key West Run, that's because it's about their 20th time. David Teavee from Maryland with all of his crew on Team Spec Ops 4. David is in the electronics business, and he's a big supplier to the Florida Powerboat Club for all of our project boats and for prizes for the Key West Poker Run, including Garmin chart plotters and ICOM handheld radios. Interesting fact about this Fountain 48 Express Cruiser was a very popular boat starting back in the early 2000s. They built a handful of them, I mean maybe a dozen or so, maybe a few more, but a lot of them are still kicking around. Some guys have gone as far as pulling out the big diesel engines and converting them to outboard power. It's a very popular hull and was discontinued for many years, but I was happy to hear that Iconic is bringing it back. And now our arrival point here at Jewfish Creek, Key Largo, for the lunch stop here on this beautiful Wednesday. Seems like it's a little cloudy and overcast today, but everyone's having a nice ride. No rain reported in the forecast, nice mild temperatures. And that's what you can expect typically on these early November days. Remember, the teams now still have about a 110-mile trek after the lunch stop at Gilberts, so it's nice to know that the weather's going to hold out for them because they still have another 2 or 2.5 hours on the waterway after they complete lunch. Patty Sullivan in his DONZI center console, another team that came all the way from Maryland to join us. And I just want to point out what you're seeing is all these boats idling now, and that's pretty much what you have to do. There was Darius and Amanda in that big 43 Midnight Express, but that's what you have to do when you get into this narrow mangrove waterway. We don't want everybody hot rodding through there because there's a lot of traffic, and you sometimes get a lot of the locals just out for a morning of fishing or cruising, and we'll encounter them in these waterways quite often. So it's nice to be off plane so we don't have any incidents with other boating traffic. And there's a nice big wide shot looking down at Gilberts. A lot of boats already at the dock, and you know, a lot of the boats that we haven't seen in this episode yet, or even in the previous episode, you'll notice that the helicopter was kind of following up the back of the pack. You know, something that is a lesson that we all need to learn from this, guys. On the Wednesday morning start, we had a helicopter that came in that was a private helicopter that flew out over the pack before our helicopter arrived. They were both black, you know, but everyone decided that they were going to take off and follow that other helicopter, which was a private chopper with no photo or video crew of ours on board. So we need to be really aware of that, guys, going forward, because there are occasionally other helicopters out there. We don't always get information that we need as organizers to relay that to you. So I'm going to tell you that when you do these big events, we're going to identify the helicopter, and it will have an FPC sticker on it. And until you see that sticker, we really don't want you guys taking off and becoming front runners, because you're going to be missed by the helicopter, and that's what happened on this Wednesday. So once again, guys, just at the back of the pack here now arriving, it's going to put us up to about 70 teams altogether that we can get into Gilberts with everybody rafted up properly and doing things the way we would like them to, with the boats pointed into the current. That's another thing that's a big issue. A lot of times boats are docked or pointed in the wrong direction down current. It's very difficult to do a raft up like that when you don't have very good steering, because as we all know, our boats don't steer very well when we're going down current or with the current. That's the one issue. The other issue, of course, is making sure that we're all tied up to boats that are similar in length to our own. And there is our Miami-based R-44 helicopter. Yeah, one more thing about that issue as well, that we only had one helicopter available to us in the morning on Wednesday for about 2 hours or 2.5 hours of flying time. We were unable to get a helicopter for the afternoon flight, which would have been the answer to our problem, especially with everybody getting missed on that early first leg. But here's what it looks like from the water. You can see a really nice mix of different styles of boats. Of course, a lot of performance V-bottoms there, and then the catamarans all docked up together. And that's really all we ask you guys to do, is try to keep similar boats together on these big raft-ups like we do here at Gilberts. Of course, on the Thursday run, we're going to be having about 4 or as many as 5 different lunch locations, which is going to help us a lot in terms of being able to put all the boats in different locations throughout the course, from Key Largo all the way down to Marathon. And that is the answer for us as organizers on these much, much bigger events, where you have 250 to 275 registered teams. That's the only way that we can do it and manage the logistics that can become quite challenging at times. And here's one bit of overflow docking that we do have at Gilberts. If you can't get in on the front or on the face docks, there's always a handful of docks on the back side if you just kind of idle around the beach and just keep going to the right. They've got a deep water basin here, so we were able to get at least another 10 or 15 boats back here at Gilberts, where you can see with these sailboats and other cruisers, it's a deep water basin and an ideal overflow docking situation if you can't get on the front docks. So it's time to get inside Gilberts, which has the largest tiki bar in the Florida Keys that we are aware of, and it's always busy and bustling and just a great stopover for so many reasons. But one thing is that once you arrive here, you really feel like you are in the Florida Keys. And I've always said that the Jewfish Creek and the big Cardsound Bridge is sort of like the gateway to the Florida Keys. Well, technically, you're already in the Keys way before that, but this is a feeling that people get that makes them feel like, well, we're on vacation now. And that's what we want you to feel. And this has certainly been the ideal location for that, going on 25 or more years since we started really hitting the docks here at Gilberts with these poker run events. So let's enjoy the sights and sounds of the Gilberts lunch on the Wednesday run. Take a quick break. At the beginning of the show, we introduced all of our series sponsors, but in addition, we had these feature sponsors join us for Key West. These are Adrenaline Powerboats, Dirty Money Racing, Double R Performance, Grove Harbor Marina, GSX Powerboats, Hydra Thunder Rentals, Legend Marine Group, Marine Technology Inc., Nextera Energy, Ox Diesel Outboards, Palmetto Yacht Management, Renegade Powerboats, Statement Marine, Superior Communications, Unique Custom Marine Vault, Wilson Custom Marine, and Wozencraft Finance and Insurance. We could not produce the Key West Poker Run at the high level we do without the support of these sponsors, so we want to thank them dearly. Well, guys, the show must go on, and we got 110 miles to go to Key West as we catch up with Bill Hendricks from Kansas with Team Chicken X. Interesting fun fact, he did this event way back in 1999 in a Cigarette 35 Cafe Racer. Welcome back, Bill. And it's the Raging Bull teams of Matt Gabriel, Sam Gabriel, Matt in the 48 MTI, Dad Sam in the 50 SV MTI, matching colors, and a great looking pair of MTIs. Just starting to see a lot more of this in the club, where people have got a big family and a lot of people to move around, so they got 2 boats to do it. And did I mention, guys, this is when you want to have your camera and your smartphones ready dockside, because there's a lot of eye candy here on the dock. This young lady riding on board with Sean and Shelby in the 38 Skater, but it's not just her, it's all of the great looking teams that we have here. So it's nice to have your cameras out, because it's an eye candy, visceral experience for anybody. Remember, it's the middle of November, guys. Nowhere else in the country are you going to see so many cool boats and so many pretty ladies all in one place at one time. But I know there's a bunch of you hardcore powerboat enthusiasts out there that are saying, okay, Stu, the bikinis are great, but it's the horsepower we want to hear. So for you guys, it's an ear candy segment right now. And it's outboards now, guys, so enough of the ear candy segment. We're back to eye candy, and they are beautiful at that. Remember now, the Mercury Racing 500 was launched just a few months earlier, back in June, in Charleston, South Carolina, when the big formal launch took place, and many of us attended that. So now, fast forward about 5 months, and there's just pair after pair after pair of 500Rs on these cats, as well as multi-engine setups on some of these big center consoles. So really a testament to how Mercury Racing was really ready for that 500R launch, and here we are now seeing dozens of 500Rs on this poker run here in November. And back to the big horsepower with Craig Lascorla's 46-foot Outer Limits Mercury Racing 1075s. Still a lot of them out there on the poker run circuit. And now departing Gilberts, and remember I said earlier, I'm going all the way to Marathon today, not all the way to Key West, but we do have a lot of mangrove waterways in the first 10 or 15 miles. So we're going to ride along today and show you what it's like to go through those. And fortunately, not a lot of traffic there. A lot of the boats have already gone through, and there's not a lot of other public boats on the waters today. So let's ride along. Now, one of the things you can do when you're off by yourself is maybe get off the main intracoastal and go through some of these cool spots like the toilet seat cut in Tavernier. So the rumor has it that way back in about 1960, after Hurricane Donna, this was a stick-marked channel. And after the hurricane, I guess some toilet seat ended up hanging on one of the sticks. And the locals decided to start dressing up all of the channel sticks with their toilet seats. And that's what you got today, hundreds of them there as you pass through. Now we're in Snake Creek, which is in Isla Morada, and we're going down here because this is our fuel stop at SD Marine Group, right at the Snake Creek Bridge, which is the US 1 bridge going over Snake Creek. So I wanted to go by here and check things out, and we could see, well, there is one of our cigarette teams getting fuel. Team Raging Bull. So we have the fuel truck here with 93 octane, and clearly many of you are requiring that higher octane fuel. This is the one and only location where we can get it, and it's conveniently located because Islamorada is right about halfway on the course at mile marker 85. So we've got about another 85 plus miles to go into Key West. So it really is the halfway point. So that's a good strategic location to be taking on fuel at SD Marine Group. Want to thank them for giving us this location. It was a little crowded there for us to get fuel, so we stopped in here at the Marina Club at Blackwater Sound, which is where Sundowners is. They have an open fuel dock there as well with 90 non-ethanol, which is all we really need for these Mercury Racing 565s. There's Sundowners, which of course is going to be one of our lunch stops on the following day, Thursday. It's going to be the scene of the Nortec owners' lunch. And just happened to stop by here as we were continuing north back to Miami for the next group. We saw a few of our teams had stopped over here in Key Largo across from Gilberts at the Anchorage Resort. And I don't know if they were stopped there just because they had a mechanical problem or if they were stopping for the night. But one thing I do want to suggest to people is that if you want to come down and do a night in Key Largo or in Islamorada or even in Marathon, like if you come down Tuesday or Wednesday and you want to do a night and then catch up with the group the next day, that's something that we totally support. We want you to enjoy your time in the Florida Keys. If you want to take an extra day and maybe not race down to Key West and just enjoy the ride, then this is certainly another way to do it. And it really takes the pressure off our facilities as well. If you can understand, if somebody could check in for the Tuesday run and then spend Tuesday night and Wednesday down in the Keys and then make it to Key West on Thursday, that's perfectly fine with us guys, and we'll help you get the rooms because there are plenty of places to get rooms in the middle and upper Keys because these are weekdays in what is typically not a very busy time of the season. And kind of the magic hour now, you can see the light, just how brilliant it is, and the skies have cleared throughout the day. At one point in the day, we did have some heavy clouds in the Middle Keys, but still a few clouds over Miami. But we're going to take the boat out of the water here at Grove Harbor Marina because we had a little trim sync issue, a sensor issue in one of the drives. We were able to get the part shipped over to us. I think I got it from Ban Marine, and they shipped it down to Grove Harbor Marina, and they were able to take the boat out and service the drive. So I got all up and running and fixed by the next morning because that was obviously another big day of boating on Thursday as we have our largest group. So that's going to happen shortly. So we did learn a lot of lessons as organizers and participants on that Wednesday group, so we'll be sure that that doesn't ever happen again as we go forward. Day 3 now for the Thursday run as we rendezvous with our helicopter crew. That is Jerry in the front seat, Joe in the back seat, flying with this Robinson R44 helicopter. Flying now out of Marathon, coming north to Key Largo to rendezvous with the boats. And again, that's a big change to our program due to the challenges we had with getting helicopters in Miami. But getting off to a great start with these two MTI 390X models. Jeff and Judy Thompson up front here. We saw them earlier back on the Emerald Coast event. They're from Alabama, just rolling along nice. And that's the thing about this MTI 390X. It just cruises so nice all day long at 100 miles an hour. Ideal conditions for these cats today. And those Mercury Racing 450Rs, they're hardly burning any fuel. You know, these guys are still getting a 1.5 mpg or plus, sometimes as many as 2 depending on their speeds. But it's fast and furious this afternoon. Let's talk a little bit more about Ryan and Rachel Garnett from Texas, Team Flight 311. Their first MTI, last boat was a 38-foot Mystic Cat. They've been around the club for 2 or 3 years, but it actually is their very first Key West offshore poker run. They had always wanted to do it, and they heard it was the mothership of runs. So glad they could finally join us here. A long way from home in Texas, 1,400 miles one way to join us. some amazing audio from those Mercury Racing 600 SCs. Ryan Harris, originally from Canada, but now lives in Jupiter, Florida. Seems to be a regular here on this Key West event with his 35 Donzi. And it's another MTI 390X. This time it is Andrew Rocco from New Hampshire, who's been a big supporter of this event and the club for many, many years in a lot of different boats, but seems to really be loving this MTI 390X. His last boat was a 34 Victory Cat. And it's appropriate timing for Randy Sissom from the factory team to show up here in his brand new 440X, powered by a pair of Mercury Racing 500Rs. So they have two boats registered from the factory, this one as well as a brand new 50 SV center console, and really just kind of showcases what MTI has been capable of in recent years as far as the latest models that they've offered. Remember, this boat started years ago as a 34 model, then a 39, now it's a 44 with a pair of Mercury Racing 500Rs, and it is beautiful. And now for what is possibly the most popular MTI model on record, and that is the 42, SV42, Mark Waddington from Performance Boat Center. Of course, they are an MTI dealer, and it's appropriate that they be running along at the same time with these other MTIs. So this will be one of the Performance Boat Center demo fleet down in Key West over the weekend, and they've got their own dock for doing rides, and they are the best at it, trust me. Every morning, you've got their entire sales team right at it, starting early, getting people out to enjoy a ride on one of the many boats that Performance Boat Center has demoed. I'm sure Mark Waddington would like to keep this boat around for the winter, but it'll probably get sold. And I would have to say that this 340X model is one of the MTIs that got it all started in the outboard cat class, and it's a Sebio Verrier from Miami who's loving the boat. By the way, he's had several boats in the club over the years, very active with FPC, but he just tells me he absolutely loves running this 340X. Got a pair of Mercury Racing 450Rs. He's always got a fun crew on board, and I was so glad he was able to join us. And a very special introduction to this family team is Ron, or Ricky as we know him, and JC Alvarez. It's a father and a son team, and an interesting story from their video bio. First time they've ever done a run with the club. It's called Block Money, the boat. It's a 36 carbon Doug Wright. And the reason it's called Block Money is because they are from Coral Gables, and they own a company which does concrete block production. They've been doing that since 1990. So they've worked hard together. Now they can play hard. Nice to see this father and son team out doing their first Key West run. And a very special welcome back to a loyal supporter of this event, David Satcher, who's done the Key West run at least 11 or 12 years. But now he's doing it in a 2023 42 MTI Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. And time for some Nortec love team power trips. Nortec 340 Sport with triple Mercury 350 Verados. Home is in Tarpon Springs, and that's why we see this team on every Tampa poker run every year. Cool comment Greg made in his video bio. He says, when you go to Key West, there's so many people with similar interests together in such a small town. You can't not have a great time. Well said, Greg. Definitely some choice words that we can all agree that is why we love the Key West Poker Run year after year. And we've got so much more of this big event, guys, celebrating 31 years for the fall of 2023 edition. Going to have at least 5 or 6 more episodes ahead as we move into episode number 4 with feature coverage of our Super Bowl of poker runs. It's all right here on Florida Powerboat Club's YouTube channel. You guys can't afford to miss another show, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you'll get an update every time a new show is released. Be sure to check out the website at flpowerboat.com for all of the details about upcoming poker run events in 2021, as well as membership information. You can follow us on Facebook at Florida Powerboat Club and on these Instagram pages. Thanks to all of our viewers for your wonderful comments on our page, and you guys know who you are, and I really do appreciate that. But if you have questions or comments you want to direct to me specifically, please use my personal email at stu@flpowerboat.com I check that daily, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're going to sign off for now. This is Stu Jones along with our producer Ryan McCoy in the Pompano Beach studio. Have fun out there, guys. Be safe on the waterways. Wear your life jackets when the time is right, and always respect your fellow boaters. Bye for now.